Hi, everybody, and welcome to Be in the Know, Table Games and More. And I'm very excited tonight because my special guest is Ryan Yee. And Ryan's one of the good guys in table games and the gaming industry as a whole. Ryan is the Senior Director of Global Proprietary Games at Cygames. Welcome, Ryan. Welcome to Be in the Know.
Thanks, Benny. Great to be here.
So I haven't seen you, and I was looking forward to seeing you here in the fall. And we'll talk about that more later. But what was you doing? Was you working during the lockdown, or how's things been for you?
We were locked down like a lot of other companies, so we were kind of, a lot of people were off as many other companies. So we really were focusing on trying to help our customer partners, right, by mitigating, and forecasting, what was the industry going to be like, and trying to help partner with them in some of their expenses and things like that. So, we went to a minimum crew for a little while, but we're back now, and we're revving back forward like we've always done.
Well, I got to tell you, man, one of the first people who reached out to me was my Cygames rep and said, hey, we understand, you shut down. We're actively pursuing a plan of to support all the properties, and they really went above and beyond and quickly, and the communication was the biggest thing. So you're a Las Vegas resident, Ryan, and I mean I'm hooked on these Las Vegas vloggers. I sit there every night and I watch Not Leaving Las Vegas and Trooper 97 and I don't know, their kids, Jacob's Life in Las Vegas. It kind of takes me there without not being there. But I don't know. Are they embellishing? Or are they not embellishing? It seems like some of them do it. Some of the things they talk about are staged to try to add subscribers. But tell me, what's life like in Las Vegas right now?
Well, Benny, I think like right when we opened back up, there was a little flow of business, right, from California, Arizona. That's where most of the customer base comes from, right? I mean, a lot of it comes from our neighboring states, and so we had a lot of visitation. The numbers were still off because they were, socially distancing. Whether it be the hotel, the casino, the restaurants. So they didn't really, go to full capacity, and they didn't have a lot of the shows that and entertainment that they normally had. But if you wanted to gamble and you wanted to have a drink and relax, that's what we had, where some places were still closed. So, I think like anything, business goes up and then it kind of levels off at some points, and it's almost becoming the new normal, right? I mean, for until we have a vaccination, that's the life we live in right now.
Yeah, I see. It's a few weeks in, and it's a learning experience. It opened up, no masks, no, basically some masks, no masks. Then it with the cases started rising, and your Governor Sisolak, he shut the bars down, so people couldn't congregate, and it seems to have slowed down. You still got quite a number of cases, and I don't know if Las Vegas will, ever. The plateau, I think, for a while, but you're right. Until we have a vaccine, I don't know if they'll go away, because, when you have that much transient action, you're going to have some exposure. And is it, the deaths luckily are not following track with cases. So that's good. And now the mean age for contracting the virus has dropped tremendously. I mean, the age, the people who are at the most risk are really in the minority that get it now. So that's good news for Las Vegas. And it's funny, you talk about things as normal, and your gaming's only coming from California. I posted last week that a bunch of gaming analysts did this report, and they've finally figured it out that for Las Vegas to survive in the meantime, they're going to have to go back to their roots. They're going to have to go back to gambling and offering a good gaming product. And I think I said that right off the bat. And I think you thought that, and anybody that's in gaming would have thought that right off the bat. And I found that very amusing. So What do you think? It's got to be a value-based gaming with all mostly non-error traffic coming into Las Vegas on the weekends, correct?
Absolutely. I think the other thing too is, the players are probably going to be a little more sophisticated, right? I mean, these are your true gamblers that are going to be gambling, right? I mean, the retail players probably not going to be there as much, but what you're going to find are you're going to find people who truly love their games, whether it's a certain slot or a certain table, a certain poker game. They want to play it, and like what we've seen is a lot of the tables from a lot of the feedback we're getting is, when they have three spots available, all three spots are full, and they're playing it. So, and they're playing pretty big. So, it's the tough part that three spots are half of the table. So that's the hard part, right? I mean, you're about to make half of what you normally could make on a full table.
Something I found very amazing, and I'm sure you will too, is our governor shut the bars last call. Now you can go to a convenience store and buy you a 6-pack, take it home, drink it all you want. But our bars last call now in the state of Ohio is 10 o'clock. And I thought, oh God, we're going to get destroyed. Oh no, 10 o'clock, we're going to be a ghost town. But you know what? Just the opposite effect happened. Them kids are out and they go to the bars and now they close. They don't want to shut down. They still want action. So actually our head counts are just jetting after 10 o'clock on a Friday, Saturday night. So it's just, it was amazing to me. I would have never, ever, ever thought that. So Ryan, unfortunately, G2E has been canceled. I mean, that was like, losing my best friend or being told, anything you think it's terrible. I shouldn't equate it to that, but it is. I love that few weeks in the fall where the table games conference and G2E come about, and I get to meet all my friends, and we get to just kind of unwind for a while. So I did this vendor series basically so I could take a virtual walk with all my friends and all my viewers through some of the booths and things that I would have seen if I'd have went there. And definitely I'm going to go to the Side Games booth. So now I've swiped in, swiped my badge in, and I've give that secret elbow punch that, Side Games requires. And I got into this extravaganza that you guys always put on. What would I have seen this year, Ryan? What would that experience look like if I was able to go?
Well, Benny, we're really, for us in especially the proprietary table games division, we're really focusing on our bonusing. Our GM Atlas is our progressive system that, state of the art. We've done a lot of cool things. We like we showed last year, we had a version of 88 Fortune for Baccarat that we feel mimics the same gameplay like the renowned slot machine. The bonusing, a lot of people really like the ATG product, which we're actually calling Kyber now. So that's the laser projected table, and the things that we could do with that progressive, projecting onto the tabletops, doing bonus rounds and things like that for the future is really our future of the product line, I'd say, because SG Vision is a big part of our company goals, and we're really looking at the chip tracking, the bet tracking. We really want to get better player data for our customers, right? And there's a whole slew of things that they're working on to get better accuracy on win-loss, player rating, things like that. And the Kyber ATG part of it is really the excitement part, where we're handling, some cool features like a wheel spin where you don't actually have to look at a screen and push a button. You actually get to spin the wheel on the table. So, we also, we're talking about our Vault program, which is the table games site license program that we call it like the Netflix, right? You get all this catalog of Shuffle Master, games from all these years and then some, and we keep adding more product into that catalog. So it's kind of like Netflix, right? You may not have you've been looking for this type of game, but you got it at your disposal. Why not try it out? It's at your arsenal.
Well, you know what? I was very impressed with a lot of things you had going on, and I'm sure the COVID puts a halt to some of the R&D on some of this, but the laser technology, the like the hologram type thing you did on the bonus spins, so that was so cool. And I love the idea where you guys were going with the 88 fortunes and the bet recognition. Of course, bet recognition. There's about as many people working on bet recognition there is a vaccine. So whoever gets the bet recognition right is. I mean, God, I wish I could be right there with my finger on the button to hit, Scott Trade or whatever, one of these play Ameritrade or whatever I got my money in. It's just fascinating. So you mentioned suite products or the vault. I got the vault. I guess some of your competitors call it the suite or whatever. It's cool. It was coming, right? I mean, you could just tell that individual leases on games were going to get combined at some point in time because people they get bored. You get bored, right? You got, you have 15 3-card poker progressives, and then the next week, only 5 of them are gone. So now you got to change, right? You got to change going. Ultimate Texas Hold'em's the big daddy now. I mean, you could probably spread 3, 4, 5, depending on how big a property you got, and you'll still continue to fill them. DJ, it goes back and forth. It's a monster one week, and then you got these odd games. You got these odd games where Crazy 4 poker is monstrous where I'm at. I mean, I could probably go to a third Crazy 4 poker. But when I was running as vice president of table games for Jack Entertainment, I had the Detroit market. I couldn't give away a Crazy 4 poker game in Detroit. So you got to be able to have that flexibility to chuck and jive and move with your customer. And they'll tell you real quickly what you want. So I love the suite idea. I've been pushing and talking about, some kind of vault type deal for progressives, to where you give me so many progressives to use and I can bounce back and forth between the progressives, and hopefully sometime that'll be included in the vault, because that's
we are working on something like that in the future, Ben.
Yeah.
I mean,
say
we understand the value of it, right?
Say I got 8 now, I want, I can have a max of 10. If I go past 10, well, now we got to renegotiate or something, but that would be cool. Tomorrow morning, I'm adding a face-up Pai Gow progressive.
Awesome.
And
the game's a monster.
Yeah, and it is. So let's go back to the games. Mississippi, Texas, Ultimate stuff. The big conversation when COVID-19 hit, when in table games, okay, do we deal them face up, face down? Oh, the players can't touch the cards. And some jurisdictions just said, hey, you got to deal them face up. I don't want the players touching the cards. And I know you guys were in, probably your phone was ringing off the hook at that time saying, hey, Brian, tell me, do I have exposure? And you guys did a little bit of study and research and put out a paper on such for your customers, right?
Yes. So right at the beginning of the pandemic, I think Wynn in Massachusetts was really kind of getting ahead of it and saying, hey, what would be the effect of dealing these games face up, and how many players could we allow? And so we had it analyzed by our mathematician, and we provided this report that can be, submitted to the jurisdictions of that they need. And basically all it tells them is the base exposure of, is the game vulnerable if it has too many players, and it kind of tells you, what's the right mix of players. Certain games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em, even though there's 2 cards in the player's hand, in the house advantage, really in the base game, 0.8%, it really, most players play at about a 4% house advantage because, you've almost got to be a computer to know all the strategy of every single hand in Ultimate, right? So there's just, we provided a list of saying, hey, this is how many you should let, if you're going to deal face up, don't go more than 5 or 4. Most people were really trying to stay within 3, but we did this report for them just to kind of give them peace of mind.
Well, I talked to my good friend Mike Shackelford, and we bounced it back and forth. And the overall risk was minimal. The biggest risk was just dealing the game face up. I mean, it's going to slow the game down tremendously because you got a bunch of dealers who've never dealt the game face up, right? And especially like in a jurisdiction in Ohio, that would have taken an emergency change of the ICs because, you know, every move you make, and this, and a lot of the jurisdictions are the same way, every move you make is telegraphed in the ICs and you got to follow it. But I think the slowness of the game face up would have been, you know, more than anything, the biggest problem. You know, people tossing their cards in and getting them out of the way and stuff like that is a big advantage for the house. So yeah, well, I'm glad I didn't have to do that here in Ohio. And luckily, right before we opened, the CDC came out and said, you know, actually surfaces and all that, it's good to be aware of. It's important to stay hygienic, but really that's not the number one way that you contract COVID-19, and that's you know, through a respiratory discharge. So good thing there. So let me ask you, what's Ryan's favorite game of all time, and why?
Believe it or not, I actually like Let It Ride. I mean, it was, you know, it was probably like the first poker game I ever played down at Binion's Horseshoe. You know, I won't say what age I was, but you know, it was one of the first games I played. I just liked it. You know, it kind of got me the first exposure to table games. I was just kind of learning about gambling at that, you know, at that time when I was in college, and it just it was interesting. And when you hear the story of how Let It Ride was created, that, you know, John Breeding, the founder of Shuffle Master, you know, it took him about 10 years to invent that or finish the first shuffler. So by the time he finished the shuffler, you know, he read an article about card counting, and that was all based on single and double deck blackjack. By the time the shuffler got done, people had gone to 6 decks. So he had to make a game for his shuffler because it was that original BG3 was a single deck shuffler. So, you know, yeah, he had to, you know, essentially make a game. So he made Let It Ride because Caribbean Stud had been out already. And I mean, just to go, well, I need a game to make for my shuffler. He makes Let It Ride, and it was actually it was a great game for something that just came up, you know, spur of the moment.
Well, you know, Caribbean Stud was like the only game that was out there, like it was a real carnival game. There was, and then Let It Ride came and it changed the world, right? I mean, it. Yep. I remember dealing Let It Ride, and it was just crazy. You know, then came Let It Ride the tournament. You know, they had this big tournament for Let It Ride. People probably don't even remember that.
The music underneath there, whenever you hit the jackpot, you hit the button.
My craziest Let It Ride. So I guess I got to tell it now. Now that we got on Let It, I don't know why you brought up Let It Ride, but I got to tell it. So I'm sitting here dealing Let It Ride. A guy starts having a seizure. I mean, he's shaking. He goes down. He hits on the ground, and here comes this old lady. And I'm you know, we're going to stun. She pulls a spoon out of her bag, right? Shoves it into her husband's mouth, picks his cards up, and says, he'll be fine. I'll give him his medicine after this hand. And proceeds to finish his Let It Ride hand. It was it was one of the greatest nights of my career. I tell you, I don't think I'll ever forget it. I won't. So, okay, Ryan, best new game in the last 5 years.
It's got to be Face Up Paiga, right? I mean, great story too, right, Benny? I mean, yeah, to speed up the game. And by the way, it was made by one of us, right? By an actual guy that, you know, it was a shift manager at the time at Thunder Valley, came up with this concept. You know, Roger saw it, and I mean, when we saw it, we were like, it was a slam dunk. I mean, we were like, decision power is everything.
I seen that game and I said, man, this is a winner. I mean, the biggest problem with Pai Gal is how slow it is. And I mean, it's just slow and dragging. And I'll tell you what, I put Face Up Pai Gal, and I'm not promoting SG or whatever, but I'm just going to tell you, everybody out there, listen like it is. This is it. This is the facts of life. I put Face Up Pai Gal in, and I was struggling to maybe have a $15 fortune game. I mean, the volume on the one unit of Face Up Pai Gal I had was so tremendous. It went immediately to 25 and then to 50. And then I had people screaming at me. I mean, just getting in my face saying, why is that other game still a fortune? I want to play this Face Up Pai Gal. And so finally, I mean, it was within 3 weeks, I called my rep and said, hey, I'm putting a second. I said, I'm not even putting, don't worry about sending me a sign. I got a layout. I'm going to throw it on. Is it okay? Can you send me the contract? And we did. And we put the second, and it went as strong. Now I don't, only on really low volume hours do we ever run that game less than $50 here in Cincinnati. No, it's different in every market, right? And on the weekends we have two, and we have a 50 and a 100. And when we do our reorganization of the floor, our reconfigure here in Cincinnati, when we become an actual Hard Rock, we are a Hard Rock, future home of Hard Rock. Hard Rocks don't like to call themselves Hard Rocks unless they've got the cafe in and done, and that kind of got delayed into all this COVID response. But what we do, I'm seriously thinking about a third, maybe in high limit, because we've got customers out there buying in, $4,000 and $5,000, $6,000 playing Face Up Pai. It's just it's nuts. It's nuts.
Well, as a former Pai Gal player, Benny, it really helps take away that two-pair decision, where you're like, should I break them up or should I keep them? Now, so it's such a great feature for the player.
And don't get me wrong, Face Up Pai Gal presents a couple problems, because people try to really take advantage of a weak dealer by faking a Pai Gal when they've got a Pai Gal, trying to get that crazy payoff on the ace high. But for the most part, nobody falls for that anymore. Right off the bat, it was kind of an issue, but nobody plays that game anymore. And we really take a hard line, and we threw the first couple people out, and that was the end of that. It was done. So let's talk about games. All right. So one of my big favorites, and it's a big side game favorite now, but it is Trilux Lucky George. I mean, it revolutionized my property. I know when Kim Miller showed me the game, she said that nobody wanted it. Nobody wanted it. And I said, hey, what's it all about? I'm dying for something like 21+3, because Galaxy wasn't licensed here. And she says, well, we got a game, but it's got this dealer envy, and nobody really likes it. So humor me and tell me about it. When she told me about the dealers getting paid every time the players win a bet, I'm like, oh, I'm in. I've been a dealer. I know I don't want to sell that side bet unless there's something in it for me. And I'm telling you what, Trilux just kicked butt. Now I guess it's all over the place now. I mean, now the secret's out, and it's happening. And even I'm so sold on dealer envies that when I wanted to put another game in, I'd have two side bets. I like Buster Blackjack. I asked AGS to come up with an envy version. Not, I heard what's the word envy? It's not dealer. Okay, a dealer pay. Let's use that word, because I think I had to take dealer envy off the layout, because that's what. Okay, dealer pay. So it was dealer pay. So they made their game a dealer pay. Now we got this. I don't know if you've seen some of the Hard Rock cards. They got this funky Jack with his sunglasses on. The Jack of Diamonds got sunglasses on, and he's giving you the rock on symbol. So I've come up with a side bet to my game Rockin' 21, which was Jack. I've come up with a side bet for that game, and I also when I was working with the Wizard, we've come up with a dealer pay. Dealer Pay, not Dealer Envy. So anyway, I'm a big believer in that. What do you think about that, Ryan? You think that's the future, kind of finding a way to include the dealers in every game?
I think so, because when I actually came up with the whole Dealer Envy Lucky George concept, and we got it patented actually and trademarked. So the idea stemmed from when I was at Paula Casino and we were putting in a side bet on blackjack, and we hadn't really had many side bets yet at that time period. It was kind of taboo back then, and we tried it. And I remember hearing the dealers sign in and going, "Great, this is another way they're going to screw my tokes." They're just thinking it to me, and it didn't do well because they had that feel like we were taking away from them. So when I came up with the concept, it was like, how do we incentivize the dealers to make sure that if they sell the side bet, they're not going to get hurt and they have skin in the game, and also to incentivize them to deal the games at a good speed, that they're not slowing the game down to hurt it. So there's what's in it for me concept of it. So we've done a lot of pay tables. Most of our games have dealer envies on them. We can make a math model for it, and it's kind of been like when we were working with Caesars, a couple years back, they were like, "Hey, anything you got new, we want to see dealer envy with it." That was important because I think it's hard to change those games because you change the pay table. You're taking from the player pays sometimes to pay the dealers, but they were like, if it's new, then, but changing it optically to the player might be bad. But if we could do it where, just introduce that way, it'd be better. And we feel like we get more success.
Right. Yeah. If you got it in there to begin with, it's fantastic. And I'll tell you, we've had some great luck with it. And it's led to other things, once the dealers realized, for one thing, when you got your own money on the layout, all right, a dealer envy, you're going to watch the layout a little closer. So a lot of our percentage of mistakes dropped significantly once we put Trilux Lucky George on the layout. So I got that going for me, right? Because it's your money, you're going to watch it a little closer. Before they had no skin in the game, right? So that worked out fantastic, and it's just like. I got this bet I came up with. It was Hot Hand Dice. Now it's called Hard Rockin' Dice here in Cincinnati. It's in Jack as Hot Hand Dice. And it requires, like bonus craps, marking the numbers, as they go along, the 10 numbers. And the boxman actually has to pay attention, because if not, he'll miss a number and then he'll be in really big trouble. So anything that puts somebody in action is a good thing. And the dealers love Trilux Lucky George. And we actually, what I did to knowing we were going to get the game, I put the pictures that Cy Games sent me of the Lucky George character, and I said, "Have you met Lucky George?" And I posted this all over the back of the house. And I didn't tell them what it was about. I just kind of blew it off anytime anybody asked me and teased them. And then when they found out it was a bet that paid them, it was really turned out to be a good thing. What other games do you find interesting now? What do you think is the hottest? We know what your favorite game is. We know what the best game is. Is there anything hot out there that you're seeing catching a lot of fire?
Well, you brought up DJ Wild earlier, right? And DJ Wild for us is really starting to take off. Roger invented it, a few years back, and we went to this new, focus group testing method that we use internally. And it was probably the first winner of our first focus group that we did with this method. And it's proven right that when we weren't even considering this game at the time. And it's really a fun game, easy, simple, and it took a little while, but it's really just picking up momentum for us. And that's an internal game that we did, right? It was really the little brother to Caribbean Stud.
Yeah, and DJ's lethal. I mean, it's stone lethal. I had a manager kind of say, "Well, man, DJ Wildstand's dead." All that. I said, "That's because it's gobbling the people alive. They love it so much, they stick on the game, and it all it does is just keep cycling people through it. It's a but they're really addicted to it. The ones that like it just are crazy about it. Actually, I haven't seen a lot. I mean, Face Up Pie Gal was a monster, but I haven't seen a lot that's attracting me. I like Crisscross Poker. I know it's one of your competitors, but I like Crisscross Poker. It's so freaking slow, and the dealers take a little bit of time to get acclimated to it. But boy, once they do, and that game starts cooking, and they can identify the hands real quick, it's a good game too. I
Yeah,
like it.
it's a good game. It's been
Yeah,
in the market for quite a while.
yeah. So let's talk about Roger. Tell me about
Yeah.
Roger. I mean, is he still your boss, or I think he got some kind of secret promotion or something. I mean, he seems like a more of a movie star of sorts now than into the table games operation type deal. So tell me about Roger.
So yeah, I still report to Roger part time. So you know, he's part of this innovation and new business development, like kind of a position that we have within SG, and he's really going on to bigger things and looking at the future for our businesses and kind of special projects. He's kind of like a secret agent now. He's one of the best game developers in history of gaming, right? I mean, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, Dragon Bonus, Crazy Four Poker, Four Card Poker, DJ Wild. I mean, I would challenge anybody out there that has as many, big games as he does. I mean, there's not many out there.
Yeah, he's amazing, and he's such a well versed human being. I mean, I don't know if there's anything he doesn't know. Well read, well spoken. I mean, I love the. I mean, someday Roger's going to write a book. I mean, you know it's coming, and I can't wait for it. And we're going to have Roger Snow, if you know who we're talking about here. He's going to be on Be in the Know. He's going to be my special guest here shortly. Once I get past this last few benders I wanted to do, and we're going to have Roger on, and me and him are going to go at it, and it's going to be a good one. You're not going to want to miss that. So let me ask you about one more game that really intrigues me.
Okay.
Three card sabotage.
Yes.
So if there's a game out there, which really, I hate to call it a new game because it's really three card poker with a twist. Tell
Absolutely.
us about three card sabotage, because if there's any game out there, I'm really thinking about I had Brent on a few weeks ago, and I like his advantage three card fury, but I really like the sabotage because I like taking the dealer down, and explain three card sabotage to me.
So three card sabotage is really like a hybrid of three card, right? And it was developed by a guy out of the upper northwest or northeast. I'm sorry. So and he kind of approached Roger about kind of helping him make this game, and we got some good feedback on it last year at G2E, and it really it's three card poker is somewhat limited. You play it, you get three cards, you make a play bet. This has just more features to it. And for us, we wanted to get it out there and get somebody to try it, because we wanted to revive our three card hold in the business, right? I mean, we have, the original three card poker, right? And we have a lot of those. So, we've always tried to spruce up three card poker by having ultimate three card poker and other games like as that. But this one we're really excited about it, and it should be out. With COVID and everything, it kind of slowed down. We had some people looking to try it out, and then everything kind of hit right about the time period when we were gonna launch them. So we're hoping to get it back out there by the end of the year.
Yeah, I think I was very close to being maybe one of the first guys to have three card sabotage. I think I got all the uh, peripheral and all the GLI and all that, and we were getting ready to submit it, so we'd have it there, and we may do it in the future. I know they were working on maybe some kind of way to work it into the multi-link progressive type deal, and they were working on the math for that. So maybe, you know, that could be something in the future that you want to look at. Three card sabotage. I was very impressed, because I like that little feature where you deal the extra cards, and if any of them match dealer cards, you just, you know, you take a couple of his cards out. I like that. I like punishing that dealer. You know, that's part of my game, and I think players like that. You know, they like to feel they have some control or some way to get to the house. And I just, like I said, I was very, very intrigued by three card sabotage. So, what are games? Anything else that you just well, let me move back a step. I know this ain't your wheelhouse. I mean, it's got to be your wheelhouse, because you got to have shufflers to shuffle these games, and so you can deal them. But what about the MDX? That's something I seen at the last. Is it getting close to prime time?
Yeah, we have one in Minnesota that they're they're testing right now. And like COVID, everything kind of slowed the rollout of everything, but I think we're starting now to get momentum on it. That shuffler is amazing, because it's the first shuffler that kind of defeats edge sorting, right? It as the cards are going down, it's turning the cards, so you're not getting that edge sorting vulnerability, especially with 8 to 10 decks. So I think that's revolutionary for us, and we're excited to have it coming out within the next year. We really have some hopes on that, as far as being our next big batch shuffler.
Well, I mean, I don't know if there's anything the MDX don't. If you don't know what the MDX is, it's a 10 deck shuffler. I think it fries eggs and everything it does. I watched it when it was doing its thing, and it was crazy. So let's talk MDX. Okay, we're talking about 10 deck games, and when you think about multiple deck games, you can definitely think about Baccarat. So will there be an X shoe come out now?
Yes, so they do have an XL shoe coming out as well, a 10 deck shoe.
Yeah.
Because in Asia they do deal 9 and 10 decks, right? So I mean, it's been something that they've needed. They were looking at ways to optimize the Baccarat games faster by not having so many shuffles.
So you'll have a digital shoe out there that can go hand in hand with the MDX then shortly.
Yep. I believe it's called the Safe Shoe XL, unless they've changed the name.
Supersize that baby, right?
Yeah, so we have the regular Safe Shoe and we have the bigger one now.
And supersize is the only way to go. Well, Ryan, it's been my pleasure having you on the show, and you got any final words for the guests out there? Some kind of secret sauce or something you can pass on, or tidbit or tease?
I think, the good thing is just, we all got to keep believing and keep moving forward, right? As the gaming group, right? We know that at some point, we're going to get back to some type of normalcy, and keep the faith and keep trying new games. And, we're going to see a lot of new things and new technology coming out within the next year. And, this is a good time for us to really kind of open our minds to trying new and innovative things, because, the margin for error before was so slim, but now we can actually take some chances to make these new changes to make gaming more efficient.
Yeah, and I think the pandemic has done one good thing in gaming. It's opened the regulators up to move forward with some things that they were dragging their feet on, cashless entry into the game and things like that. So along with that came with we've gotten a lot of things passed with COVID waivers to allow us to be a little bit more efficient operators. And so I wouldn't say anything is off the table. So Ryan, it's been a pleasure. I want to thank you for coming out. Folks, if you like this video, be sure to subscribe below, right down there somewhere below my finger here is a subscribe button. I know it's a little tough on YouTube. You got to sign up, blah, 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 but it really makes a big difference on whether we can keep going and whether YouTube promotes any of these YouTubers you're watching. If you like them, subscribe to, hit the bell for notifications, and you'll be able to see more. Ryan, again, thank you. Hopefully we'll see you in the near future and we get past this pandemic, and 2020 we'll be out there at G2E and we'll be doing our thing as we normally do.
Sounds good, Benny. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Take care, Ryan.